Hello, and welcome to DREEMM, where we are focused on connecting to and building community. We are committed to helping individuals break cycles. We are delighted that you have taken the opportunity to join us. So prepare yourselves for this week's teaching and equipping session. Get ready to be educated, equipped, and set free as you listen to this week's broadcast. And thank you for
Hey, y'all. Welcome to Dream. I am Pastor Kai. I am so excited you're joining us today for Truth Tuesday. Whether you're watching this Tuesday night or you're watching this another day in the replay, we appreciate you guys for being dedicated and watching and for jumping in here really quickly to find out who we are. And if this is your first time, welcome to Dream. I'm a part of the phenomenal Dream team. I actually am a part of the Dream South team here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So for those of you who are close by, come on and join us. Come watch us. Come visit with us. We love to fellowship with you and just love on you and just tell you about God. And for those of you who are near our founding office, which is actually in Cincinnati, Ohio, come on out and join us for our Dream. Come introduce yourself and get to know us and get to know the ministry. A little bit about us. What does DREAM stand for? Because you've heard me say it a couple of times since I started, and you're probably going, what does that even mean? DREAM stands for Deliverance, Restoration, Education, and Empowerment for Me Ministries. We help individuals and families break cycles. We are a deliverance ministry. For those of you who are interested and you're going, listen, I would be a candidate. I would love to go through deliverance. I feel like it's my time. I want to be released. I'm being bound by some things. Kai, I'm ready to change some things, and I feel demonic presence around me. I want to go through deliverance. This is how you do it. You absolutely go to our website. You click on the consultation link. It's actually on the homepage at the very top. And then you sign up for a consultation. That's when a member of our team will reach out to you, just talk about what deliverance is, get a good understanding for what you're experiencing. We'll have you fill out a packet for deliverance, and then, of course, we will take it from there. Okay. So that's a little bit about the process. For those of you who are interested in just knowing more about DREAM, you can do that on our website as well. Or if you're somebody going, you know what, God, I need prayer. I just want somebody to just call and pray with me, or my marriage is in trouble. Or if you're a man and you're going, you know what, I want to talk to a brother about things that I'm going through. And I want to know that when I share this information is confidential. You guys are not going to go out and talk about it to anybody else. Even if you know people that I know, that it's going to stay with you guys. This is how you do it. This is how you get in contact with us. This is our email address, so you can reach out to the team. So you guys, let's get into this. I want this to be just like a casual conversation. I'm going to teach a little bit, but this is just us, just unwinding, just sitting back, relaxing, and just talking this thing out. Let's talk about faith versus expectation. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. And I'm going to tell you about a time where, I really didn't have faith and I just really wasn't sure what to expect. And if I'm being completely honest, like real honest, no fluff, there are times even now where my faith is challenged. And it's because God is taking me into new areas. And when you go into new things, you're not quite sure how to maneuver or what to do here or where to go or anything like that. That's where our faith has to be worked out, and our faith is exercised. It's like a muscle. And so God is expanding where we are all going, and sometimes we hit those challenging moments. And so I'm going to talk about one tonight, and I hope that through this teaching tonight, where it's very laid back, very casual, I hope that it provides clarity for you, especially if you're somebody who's going, honestly, Kai, I'm struggling a little bit. Or if it happens in the future, maybe you're not going through it right now. I pray that when you do go through that next plateau where God is taking you up a level and you feel yourself challenged just a little bit, you'll remember this teaching, and hopefully it'll be a light unto your path. It'll lead you back to God and kind of help strengthen your faith muscles. So y'all, let's get into it. I want to talk about time where I lost my cool. Can we talk about that? Anybody knows me will tell you, she's normally happy-go-lucky. She's super cool, very laid back, love to joke around. But every now and then, I lose my cool just a little bit. And during this time, I did. For those of you who don't know my background, I actually, even as a kid, I wanted to go into the medical field. Like, I knew I wanted to be a nurse. If you asked me when I was little, it was always, I want to be a nurse when I grow up. I want to be a nurse. I want to be a nurse. And so I actually went into school my junior, senior year to become a medical assistant. And the plan was to go on to nursing from there. Plan changed just a little bit. But I did get to stay in the medical field for quite some time, and I really did enjoy it, you guys. Worked with doctors' offices, had worked with patients, knew the front office and the back office, loved both. But there is something different that happens when a medical crisis hits your home. It's almost like everything you know goes out the window. My son was 2 years old when he had his first seizure, my youngest son, and that seizure lasted 20 minutes that we actually counted from the time I actually called 911 to the time the ambulance got to my house. It was 20 minutes. How long it lasted before then, I can't tell you. But this, my son was 2 years old at the time he had his first seizure, and all this medical background, had seen people have seizures before, froze when it came to him having a seizure, and I'm standing there and I don't know what to do. My brain is working and it's telling me you need to do something, but I am literally stuck in place. And so I did manage to call 911. We did get the ambulance there. We go to the hospital. My aunt works for the state of Georgia. Now, that's not important to the story yet, but I'm going to tell you why it was important later. But she comes to the hospital. She has her badge on. She just got off work, and we're running in to take care of what needs to be taken care of with our son. And so we get recommended to go to a doctor. Now, y'all, this doctor, when they told me where the doctor was located and where I lived at, I thought they were close together because I'm new to Atlanta. I have no idea where anything is. I'm thinking it's close. But if you in Atlanta and you know about Atlanta, you know a 5-minute drive up the street can take you 30 minutes depending on traffic. So this doctor, for those of you who've been to Atlanta, at the time, I live in Fairburn. The doctor is near Scottish Rite. So when they told me this, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Children's Hospital, we'll just go up there. No problem. No big deal. Y'all, I didn't know. So this was at a time, and I don't know if you guys remember this, where on 400, there was a toll bridge, that you had to pay. Now, I barely have $3 in my pocket to get this kid a Happy Meal, and that's when Happy Meals were $3. They ain't $3 no more, but there was a time when they were. And so I'm thinking I'll grab him a quick burger with a little bit of change I got, but that's all I got. When I get to the toll bridge, I am literally hyperventilating because I don't know what to do. Like, I don't have any money. I wasn't expecting this. My expectation was way off. And so I get to the attendant. She's like, calm down, mom. It's okay. You can go ahead and go through. We'll just mail you the ticket. No big deal. And I feel a little bit better. But then I get near Scottish Rite. And for anybody who knows about those hospitals in that area or anything surrounding it, you have to pay to park. And so although his doctor's office is outside of Scottish Rite, you still have to pay to park. I wasn't expecting this either. So again, I am just like stressing over the little things. It's those little things that are starting to add up, and they starting to push me over the edge. Like, I'm close to the edge, but I ain't been pushed yet. I'm right there though. And so then I get into the doctor's office. I'm still kind of trying to calm down, but I haven't calmed down yet. And the doctor's bedside manner was just, he just wasn't there. He didn't want to, Christian was trying to talk to him. He didn't want to talk to him. He kept ignoring him. At one point, he was like, can you please tell him to stay over there so I can just talk to you? And so I was like, okay. And so I kind of got Christian working on coloring so that I could talk to the doctor. But all of this just started adding up. So when it came time to go back to this doctor's office, I'm like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go to him. I want to find somewhere else. And so I talked to his pediatrician and I explained the situation. And when I told her who it was, she was like, he's the best in the city. Like, he's number one. And she said, to my understanding, he doesn't even take patients with your type of insurance. How did you get into his office? Now, y'all, I'm going to be honest for a minute. I didn't care in that moment that he was the best in the city. I didn't want to see him anymore. Like, I was done after that visit. He's far away from my house. I got to pay a toll to get to his office. I got to pay to park when I get to his office. Then I got to go in and see him. And he's very short with his responses. I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. So I was literally like, I am over this. Like, my expectation when you work with doctors, you work with the pediatric doctors, peds doctors are a little bit more happy. They can interact with the kids. You know, it's a lot fun. But this was not that. This wasn't that. So I was just trying to calm down off of my frustration. And she was like, listen to me. If I were you, I would stay with him. He is the best that we have to offer. He is like number one, right? Okay, I'll keep going. So, y'all, this particular morning, things were hectic. We noticed that when Christian would get a fever, he would have a seizure. Or there were certain mornings he would wake up and then he would have a seizure. He never really had them at this point during the day. They only happened first thing in the morning. And so I was very particular about what I fed him. When I woke him up, how did I wake him up? Making sure I was in the room to wake him up, making sure I got him up in the morning. I took him to the bathroom. Let's wash your face. Let's brush your teeth. Like, you do it with me because I need to watch to make sure nothing is happening, right? So this particular day, Christian woke up. He had a fever and a seizure happened immediately. I called the neurologist's office to tell them what was going on. You guys, he said, go right to the hospital, the one closest to you, go to that hospital. So I went to the hospital that was closest to me because he was too far away and the hospital he wanted me to go to was way too far. So I went to this hospital and about an hour and a half later, he called my cell phone. And he said, why haven't you called me yet? Is the doctor going to call me? And are you already back? Like, what's going on? And I was like, actually, I'm still sitting in the waiting area. And I heard him cuss under his breath. And he said, you're in the waiting area. Go take your phone and give it to the person at the front desk. So I grabbed my phone. I took it to the person at the front desk. And I don't know what he said, but all of a sudden she goes to the back and she gives it to a doctor. She comes back out and she was like, he's talking to another doctor. And then they come out and they're like, I'm so sorry you've been waiting this long, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, come to find out, he yelled at everybody in the office, in the hospital, because nobody had brought him back. And he said, this is a child who's having a seizure. He has epilepsy. Why wasn't he taken back? Come to find out, they did not have a pediatric doctor on staff. This doctor said, listen, I know it's a little bit far for you, but I told you what I'll do. If you want to take a taxi up here, I'll pay for the taxi. You don't have to worry about it. And I'll make sure you get back home from the hospital. But he needs to be seen in the hospital today. And I prefer him to be seen at the hospital that I have rights at that are up here in North Georgia. So I need you to bring him up here. And so that was it. After that, I realized that his passion for his patients, just as blunt, I'll use that word because I don't know what other word to use. Just as he wasn't cold. He was just very straightforward. That's really what it was. I don't want to, no frills, no nothing. Very straightforward. Let's get to the point. And I just wasn't used to that. But the way he fought for my son in that moment changed my perspective in dealing with him. See, today we're talking about faith and expectation. I went in there with the expectation of this is who this doctor is. I was ready to be done with it and I was ready to be gone. I don't want to work with him anymore. I don't want any of that. I told you that the doctor said that he doesn't take patients with my insurance. And I told you that when I told you about my aunt, I would come back to that. My particular aunt at this time worked for the state of Georgia. And her role was she would go into hospitals and she would evaluate the hospital staff. And so when they saw her come in with her badge, he saw her come in. It was automatic, like the door open. What do they need? How do we help? What else do they need? it was favor, and it was divine favor, because had she not just come from work, she wouldn't have had any of that on. And who knows if we would have been able to get into his office. Sometimes, though, what you expect and the favor you think you're going to get doesn't line up with what God is doing in that moment. And sometimes the medicine that he's given us doesn't always feel good. What I wanted was a doctor who made me feel good, but the best doctor who probably would have made me feel good maybe not been what Christian needed in that moment. Because what I learned, or what experience that happened a few years later on down the road, was Christian started having multiple different types of seizures. See, I originally thought when we went into this process that it would be like, he had this one seizure and it'd be a one-off. He never has another one. We'd be fine. Everything would be perfect. That wasn't the way God planned. And I had another family member who contacted me and was like, yeah, this person in the family had seizures and they only had one. And then that was it. Like, they never had anything else. They outgrew it. So Christian's going to outgrow it. Well, that was something to hold on to when he was 2. But now Christian is 10 and we're still having this issue and we're still going through it. See, sometimes the healing takes a little bit longer. And sometimes the process takes a little bit longer. And if you give up when you're in the midst of the process, had I just thrown up my hands and said, forget it, I'll go see the number 3 doctor as long as he's nice. I'll go see the number 5 doctor. Who's the 10th in the city? Let me go see them. Had I done that, I would have missed out on what we needed. I mean, when I say this doctor was on top of everybody's care when it came to Christian. I know now it's popular for doctors to, have that back office system that they use, and all your doctors communicate with each other, e-charts, and everybody can see blood work. That wasn't a thing then when Christian was little. And so he personally would ask the hospital, if he's seen there, send me the results. When he went to his pediatrician office, he would call the pediatrician to get information, and she would call him to get information, and they worked together. When I couldn't get his medicine, there was one time where the medication that he needed was on back order. And so no pharmacy could get it. This doctor was calling all around to figure out, where do we get it from and how far do we need to get it, and can I have it shipped to my office? Like, this was what he was doing to help my child. And so had I pulled back and said, forget it, I'm done with it, I don't know that would have been the same experience or the same level of care that I would have received. And I was ready to say I'm done with it because I didn't like the way he made me feel, y'all. He hurt my little feelings, so I was mad. So let's talk about that when it comes to healing, because I told you guys we were going to teach a little bit. Let's get into it. We're going to look, first of all, let me tell you, we're going to look at the way Jesus healed 3 different people who all had the same condition, but he didn't do healing in the same way. He did something different with each one. And I want to take a minute for us to dive in and just look at it and just talk through it, because I need to have some conversations with us when it comes to our faith and our expectation. What I was going to title this message is when the cure doesn't match your expectation for the medication that you think it needs. Like, when I think that this medication, or what I think the cure should feel like, I think it should do this, not feel like that. I think it should be immediate relief, not long-term relief. I think that there's a medication where I have to give myself an injection, you guys. And when I give myself the injection, I'm fine. But when the needle goes in, and I'm panicking because I don't really like to get shots. And then the medication burns behind that. Wait a minute. Am I really this sick where I need this? Like, it's when I'm looking at that needle, I start reevaluating. Like, do I really feel bad? Like, do I feel this bad where I need this, or can I do without it? Or I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's really this serious. So you guys, this is what we're going to talk about. If you knew what it would take to get to the healing, would you continue to move forward and move through with it? Or would you find yourself starting to second guess? Like, God, I didn't know it would take this long. I didn't know I would have to endure this. I didn't know it would feel like this. So let's go in and let's take a look, and then we're going to talk about it a little bit. So let's go to Mark 10. in Mark 10:46 through 52, and I'm not going to read it. I'm going to ask that you read it, but I am going to summarize it if I can speak. So we're going to summarize this a little bit. So this is Bartimaeus. Bartimaeus is blind. And Bartimaeus is calling out to Jesus as Jesus is going through Jericho. And despite being told by people around him were telling him, stop calling out to Jesus, be quiet. You're making too much noise. Just quiet down a little bit. But Bartimaeus kept calling out. He was persistent. I'm not going to give up because somebody else is telling me to be quiet. If I look a fool screaming out for Jesus, then I'm just going to look a fool. If I look crazy, if people get offended, if people don't like it, I'm still going to scream out. I actually saw somebody post something like this on social media. And she, not social media, but she posted a video and she was talking about it. And she was saying, I just want to encourage people who are sharing the word of God, people who are, putting the memes up about God, people who are putting prayers out there, or anything that you're putting out there. You hear people coming back telling you, stop talking about it, stop sharing it on this network. Nobody wants to hear about Jesus. She said, I want to encourage you to keep sharing the information. And I thought that was so profound because she wasn't a pastor or anything like that. She was like, I just want to encourage Christians. We got to get, comfortable talking about Jesus. And regardless to what people say, you never know who needs to hear it in that moment. So go ahead and share the meme of the prayer request. Go ahead and share, the Bible scripture that you just read that just encouraged you to keep going. Go ahead and share your testimony. And so I thought that was just such a good message to share. And that's what's happening here. Bartimaeus is not sharing a testimony. He's really just calling out to Jesus. Like, Jesus, son of David, please come over here. And so Jesus hears Bartimaeus. And Bartimaeus, he goes over to him and he asks, what do you want? What can I do for you? And Bartimaeus asked to regain his sight. And Jesus said to him, go, your faith has healed you. So his healing came by his faith. And it was just a spoken word that Jesus gave to him. Go ahead, your faith has healed you. You're healed. And that was it. Now I want to take a look at another person. Let's go to Matthew. I'm sorry, you guys. We're going to go to Matthew. Matthew 9:27-31. Here we have two blind men, and they're following after Jesus, and they're also crying out. Like, Jesus, son of David, they're calling out to him and they're asking him, help us, help us, help us. And Jesus hears them calling out to him. He hears them speaking to him and calling out for him. So he turns around and he asks them, Jesus asks if they believe he can heal them. And upon affirming their faith, he touches their eyes and say, according to your faith, let it be done. And they're immediately healed. So the first man, Jesus just spoke it. The second two men, in the second instance, he actually touches them and they're healed. You guys, give me 1 second. I've got to close this blind. It is bothering me. Hold on 1 second. Give me a second, everybody. Okay. I am back. Okay, that's better. Now I don't feel like the light the sun is going down and it's just blinding me in this eye. So, so now I am back. Okay, so like I said, so the second instance, it's a touch along with the word. Now let's go to the third instance. The third instance, we are actually going to go to John 9. And in John 9, let's talk about this. And I'm sorry, you guys, I'll keep looking to the left because I have multiple screens up. So in John 9, it says, in this account, Jesus encounters a man who is blind from birth. The disciples question whether the blindness was due to the man's sin or his parents. Like, who sinned? Who's the one that caused this issue to happen? Have you ever gone through something in life? Just been struggling emotionally, mentally, physically, going through a hard situation, whether it be by your own circumstance, so like I did something that caused this, or whether it be something that God is taking you through because I'm teaching you having a Job moment, and the people around you start questioning, What did you do? How did you cause this to happen? Where did you go? What was your problem? What did you do? And they just start keep questioning, even though in that moment, it could be a moment that God is just taking you through because he's taking you to the next plateau. It can be a moment where God is teaching you a lesson. It can be a moment where sometimes you done did something wrong. It could be any of the above. But they're questioning, their motive is to understand what did you do wrong? What did you do wrong? It can almost cause some people to want to go backwards and revert back to the world. And there have been people who've said that. I felt more judged by the church than I did in the world. So it was easier for me to go back into the world. And sometimes it can cause you to want to give up. It can cause you to want to throw in the towel and say, I just cannot do this. I want to encourage you to keep moving forward to God. We all sin. We all fall short. The Bible says we sin daily. There is something that I did today that disappointed God today. I've done today. There will never be a day where I wake up and go, there is absolutely nothing that I've done. God is pleased with everything I've done in my entire life. And I am so perfect. I'm not even going to sit up here and tell that lie. I'm not going to tell that lie because I'm not. I'm not. And that's why I wanted to start this off by telling you about a time where I've struggled with my faith, because I understand that there may be somebody else out there who's going, I struggle with my faith too. And so, like I said, let's get back to this. In this instance, Jesus responds, neither caused it. It's not his father or his mother. Instead, this happens so that the work of God might be on display. He then spits on the ground, he makes some mud, and applies it to the man's eyes, and instructs him to wash in the pool of Siloam. Then the man obeys and returns, and he's able to see. And so the first instance, it was the man's faith that restored him, but God just spoke a word. Second instance, like I told you, their faith, but God just touched their eyes. This time, there was some actual work that went into this. And so it got me to thinking about this. And I want you guys to think about it a little bit too. Why might Jesus do it three different ways? Why didn't he just do it the one way? Why didn't he just go, you know what? I'm just going to touch his eyes and that'll be it. Why? Why might that happen? Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. So first of all three examples have the same problem, but the deliverance process was different. What I have to go through to get delivered, what somebody else has to go through, and what somebody else goes through may be completely different. We may all be dealing with the same issue. It may even show up differently in each one of us, but the process may be a little bit different. You can see this when I talk about my son with epilepsy. I did have another family member who had it as a child, same age, got it, same age. But that person had one seizure and never had another one. My child has multiple seizures over years and then different types of seizures. It took a little bit longer. What would have happened if I would have gave up? What would have happened if I would have said, this is just something he's going to have for the rest of his life? What would have happened if, we determined, well, maybe God doesn't love us because he didn't just have one seizure and get healed. He had multiple different seizures. So that must mean that God doesn't love us because he's letting us go through this. That would have been a mess to even try to compare my process to somebody else. And that's the lesson I would tell anybody going through any type of struggle. Your process and their process may not be the same processes. What they go through in their instance, through their problems, through their situation, may not look like you. You may have come from the same place. We may have the same mom, same dad, came out of the same house, grew up together, but have two completely different outcomes and may have two completely different processes to go through on our journey to Christ. It may not look the same, and that's okay. It's okay that it doesn't look the same, but don't get too caught up trying to compare what you have to what somebody else has. Don't get, looking at somebody else plate. Well, I'm going through this. Why aren't they going through this? Well, I've got this. Why don't they have that? Don't allow the enemy to discourage you, because that's really what he's trying to do by causing you to look at somebody else and what they're going through and what they got and who they are, what they're dealing with, because you may not see the whole picture. They always say that saying, the grass on the other side always looks greener. It always looks better when I'm looking at somebody else's circumstances or situation, but I don't understand their struggles. I don't really understand their pain, their plights, what they're going through, how hard it is. I don't understand all that. All I know is from my perspective, from looking over here, it just looks a little bit better over there. They don't have to go through what I go through. And so you can't get into this comparing and contrasting thing, because it'll get you all messed up, and it'll make you lose your vision of where God is calling you to. So let's keep going. The process was for the person going through and that God would be glorified. So let's talk about that. What does that mean? The process was for the person going through it. So in the example, let's go through the third example, where we are looking at John 9, 1 through 12. When Jesus responds, he says, when the disciples ask, whose fault was it? Jesus responded, neither is the cause. Instead, this happened so that the works of God might be displayed. And so God is saying, my works are going to be, Jesus is saying God's work is going to be displayed through this person's life. So sometimes the situations that you're going through are just a testimony, not only for you to really be able to build your faith muscle up, because you may be struggling in your faith, or God is getting ready to take you to the next place, but it's also so that you can turn around and encourage and strengthen your brethren and your sisters, so you can encourage them to keep going. So when they get to a situation that looks like yours, by you telling your testimony of God brought me through it and this is how he did it, it encourages me to keep going. Or if I don't know God, I have no idea, I've never met him, I've never been introduced to him, I didn't grow up in church, I don't know this Savior that you guys are talking to, but I know you. And I'm getting to meet him through watching how you respond in times of trouble. I'm getting to understand him by watching how you deal with other people. I'm getting introduced to God through your fruit. That's how people are getting introduced to him. So it's not your words that are encouraging that person to come to him. It's your actions that may be causing that person to go, let me get to know him. Let me meet him. Let me understand who he is. I'm getting saved by just watching what God is doing in your life. And because I can see how he's showing up for you, it encourages me in my situation to go, if God can do it for him, if God can do it for her, then I know God can do it for me. I know he can show up for me. And so you've introduced me, you've ushered me into his presence without you coming and beating me over the head with the Bible. And so sometimes the process is really that. It's not only just getting you into his presence, but it may be ushering somebody else who hears about the testimony. One thing we must check in and ask ourselves when we're going through it is, where is our faith in this situation? Where is our faith? And I'm going to be honest with you. I said it in the beginning. There are some times where my faith, I'm struggling with new areas. Like, God, I'm the type of person who loves to know what the outcome is. Like, I love the control of, okay, I know if I do A, then B is going to happen. That's how my mind works like that. Like, I need it to be A, then B. I need process. God takes me away from my desire to have a straight process. That is where faith comes in for me versus expectation. I know 1 + 1 = 2 until God comes in. And God's like, no, because you get used to the 1 + 1 = 2. So there's no faith needed. If every time it's going to be the same result, there's no faith needed. It made me think of a situation. I have 2 dogs, and you guys, if you've watched me before, you probably heard them bark. They're hilarious. Normally in the evenings, I take them out for a walk. And when we're walking, we typically go the same way every time. And so my older dog will all, because he knows where we're going to go, which way we're going, he'll take off leading because I know this is where we're going to go. Sometimes though, I pull a fast one on him and I pull him in a different direction, which completely throws him off because you're not going the way you always go. You're doing something different. And so I do that because I want to change it up and get him um, out of his pattern. God does the same thing to us. Sometimes he shakes things up so that we're like, wait, I thought this was going to happen. And God's like, no, that's not going to happen. I'm going to do something else right now. And here's what I'm going to do. And so that's where our faith is needed because it takes us out of our comfort zone. And that's when your faith gets strengthened. It's like working that faith muscle because now I'm having to rely on faith and I'm having to rely on God to get me through it because I'm in a situation that I can't get out of. I'm in a situation I've never been in before. I don't know what the outcome is going to be here. I just know in place of knowing this happens first, this happens second, this happens third, I know at the end of it, God is going to prevail, but I don't know how you're going to do this, God. And so I am completely confused and I'm leaning 100% on you because I can't lean to my own understanding because I don't understand. I have no understanding. I have no idea how this is going to work. And so, God, all I can do in this moment is ask you, how do you plan to work this thing out? And so that is where your faith is required. All right. So you got to ask yourself, where is my faith in this situation? What am I standing on? One of the things that I always ask, especially the team knows that I ask this question, is when somebody says, I'm going through something, I need prayer. What scripture are we standing on? Because I don't want to be praying for A and you praying for B and she's praying for X and he's praying for L and we ain't even on one accord. Everybody praying for something different. So what scripture are we standing on and what exactly are we praying? Don't just tell me to pray for you because I will pray the wrong thing. And I really do get that from Apostle Deborah Edwards because that is one thing that has instilled. Don't just ask for prayer. What are you praying for? What do you need us to pray for? What do you need us to stand on? What do you need us to believe? What are we speaking? So we ain't speaking different languages. The Bible says when two or more gather together in my name, when I'm praying, I need to make sure we in the same name. What name are you praying? Who you praying to? I can't just ask everybody to pray. I need to make sure we praying to the same God. So wait a minute, what do you believe? So I make sure we in the same place. And so I gotta ask some questions. You guys, let's keep going. It's easier to trust the process when I know what to expect. It's much easier. We're talking about faith versus expectation. I can faith it all day when I know what to expect. Like I know when I go to the restaurant and I place my order and I pay my money and I drive to the window and you give me my food, what I order is in this bag, right? Like, you didn't give me somebody else's order. You didn't put, anything that shouldn't be in here, and I don't have something else. My expectation is when I open this bag, what I ordered is in there. Faith is not knowing what's in it, what's coming, and when it's coming. God, I'm praying to you for deliverance. I'm praying to you to get me out of this situation. I'm praying to you for the job, God. I'm praying for you for the marriage. I'm praying to you for the baby. God, I'm praying to you to work this situation out. Faith is when I don't know when God is going to deliver it and I don't know how he's going to deliver it. And I'm still praying and believing and walking by faith and going, God, I believe you're going to do it. I believe that I know that you can do it. And I believe you're going to do it. And faith requires a trust that I can't change this situation. Only God can change this situation. Only God can do it. And it's hard to faith sometimes when the situation itself seems much bigger than your expectation, than what you can think of, than what you can imagine, than what you can get yourself out of. Sometimes you will struggle with your faith in that area, when I don't know how it's going to do this, and especially when everything I look at reminds me that there's still the problem. The answer didn't come when I prayed immediately. Like, God, I expected the bill is due today and I don't have the money. God, I'm believing that you gonna help me out with this. I'm trusting you. And then the bill collector calls. But I've still got faith. But the bill collector just called. That's when our faith is tested. It's easy to have faith about the bill when I know that if I call my mama gonna pay it. I can faith all day over that. But what happens when I don't know the way out? When you know what to expect, that's the opposite of faith. There is a comfort in knowing what to expect and how it's going to happen. There is a trial or a challenge coming when you don't have any idea. And that's where our trust in God is magnified or is growing. It's like the seed that allows God to really be able to flourish and build that trust between us and Him. It is really where the enemy tries to come in and sow seeds of doubt. That's where he's going to come in and go, but is God going to do it? Is the marriage going to work out? Girl, he's still acting crazy. You see, he came in here with an attitude and he didn't say nothing to you. Are y'all still going to be happily married? Maybe it's time for you to go. Is the baby coming? You still don't have a job yet. Is God going to deliver the job to you because you still don't have a job? And so he starts sowing these seeds. And the purpose is to pull you further and further from God, further and further out of his presence, to cause you to doubt God. And so you put up blinders and blockers and you stop hearing the word of God and you stop seeking him. You stop praying and you stop believing and you start telling yourself, see, God wasn't going to do it. Mm-mm. And then you start doubting his very existence. That's what the enemy wants. It is when God shifts us or changes the regular schedule program that we have to exercise faith. Like I told you, just like the dogs, if I take them in the same direction, they know where to go. But when I shift them and take them into a different direction, they have no idea what we're doing. What is this lady doing? Where is she taking us? This is how that shift happens with God. And sometimes he has to take us out of our regular scheduled program because you get used to the way things are. This is the reason why I believe, it's not in the Bible, but this is the reason why I believe that Jesus didn't heal the same way every time, because your faith would be in the process instead of your faith being in God. If I know that, all I got to do is touch my eyes with some water and all of a sudden the blind can see, then I stop depending on God to be my source. And suddenly the source is the water. That's my source, because maybe it's this type of water. And if you do it with this type of water, it'll happen every time. I no longer depend on God. I don't ask him for anything because the water is my source. And the same thing happens with anything that we put in the place of God. Your source could become your job. That's your God. Your source could become that relationship. That becomes your God. That relationship with that man or that woman becomes your God because you make them your source, your provider. They are the ones that, you look to when anything goes wrong. You expect them to come in. And I no longer pray. I no longer go to church. I no longer see God's face. I no longer fast. I no longer get in my word because I am cultivating this thing or this relationship with this person. It could be something else that becomes your source. I believe that when I come in the house and I sage everything, then that gets rid of evil spirits. So now sage is my God. So when I get stressed out, I go buy some sage. When I get stressed out, when I get frustrated, when I get bothered, I go get some sage and I'm saging my house all day. I'm smudging all over my house all day because I'm trying to get rid of the evil spirits. It's the same thing. You begin to make things your God. Maybe you made that job your God. So, you know what? Paychecks come every week. I can't go to church because they want me to work on Sundays. So I can't come to church no more. I catch y'all in the replay every week. And then I stop watching the replay. I stopped watching. You don't see me in the comments no more. Because what I prayed for, God is giving me. I prayed that God would give me the job with the money and be able to travel and be able to come and go as I please and be able to do this and be able to do that. And I got the job. Did I still need God anymore? Because I got what I wanted. Y'all see how quickly that can happen? So, it's important that if you get nothing out of this, if you go, Kyle, what is the foundation? The foundation is, one, don't get discouraged or distracted when obstacles come, when challenges come, when things don't work out the way you thought, when the healing didn't happen like you thought it would, when you thought it would, the way you thought it would, when the job didn't come the way you thought it would, when you've got to take 6 steps backwards instead of when you've taken 12 steps forward and God moves you backwards. Don't get discouraged. And I can say that from experience. You are not talking to somebody who just read about it in the Bible and went, I'm going to talk about this today. You're talking to somebody who's lived it. I've experienced it. And I'm still experiencing it, if I can speak correctly, y'all. I'm still there. My message is still the same. In my hardest time, God was good. I can look back over my life and look at the things He kept me from. And I don't even know, some of them I might not even be able to imagine, because my mind doesn't go that far. But I can think about where I am now and the journey He's brought me on and all the lessons that I learned along the way. And had I not gone through some of the challenging moments, I wouldn't be able to talk to you about it. If life had always been a box of chocolates and it was just perfect and everything was fine and it was rainbows and kittens and puppies, I wouldn't be able to talk to you about some of the challenges that you may face. That's the beauty of this amazing team that I'm a part of. All of us come with our own backgrounds and experiences, our own troubles and obstacles and things that we had to go through and things that we were able to learn from. And we bring all of that knowledge and how God has directed our paths right to Him. We didn't come from the same places. We came from different places with different perspectives. And then God was still able to clean us up and use us. And He'll do the same thing for you. He's able to clean you up and use you. So I don't want you to allow what you're going through right now to distract you from where God is calling you to. This may not be your end place. This is just a place I'm passing through. And maybe I'm staying in this place a little bit longer than I expected. God, I thought you would deliver me by now. Maybe that's your testimony. God, I thought you would bring me out of this by now. But you haven't. So what do you have for me to do while I'm here? Because maybe that's it. You haven't learned the lesson yet. One thing God revealed to me last week, and I done had to pray about it multiple times. God, show me how to stop it. He revealed to me that now as an adult, when you get uncomfortable, you get out. Like, you're not going to get trapped. I'm out of here. Goodbye. And God said that started from my childhood, which I didn't understand at first, but now I got it clearly. he revealed to me there was a time in a situation that you could not get out of. And so I did say, when I'm an adult, I'm not going to stay any place where I can't get out of. I'm not going to do this again. As a child, I couldn't make decisions. As an adult, I can. And so God said, you held on to that one. Because when you don't like it, deuces. I'm out. Bye, y'all. I'll see y'all later. And I had to learn from that, because you can't keep doing that, especially when God is calling you to do something. And the place that he's put you in may be the place that he's designed for you to do your work. There is something that you were supposed to do here to edify the kingdom. But if you always moving because people are getting on your nerve, you shifting because I'm not going to get trapped. I'm not going to get stuck. You're not going to box me in. I need an exit for everywhere we go. I'm planning my exit route. Then you may miss the beauty of the moment that God has placed you in. The opportunity to sow in that place. The person that you're supposed to come into contact with and tell your story so that they get delivered. But you never meet that person because you always running. So sometimes God needs you to sit in it and just allow him time to minister and speak to you, to allow him time to tell you why you're here. What are you supposed to be doing in the middle of this situation? So you guys, that has been Truth Tuesday. I hope that this message has really ministered to your spirit and to your soul. And I hope that it brings about a change for you, that you take the message from tonight and you allow God to build on it, to give you more nuggets and more keys that you can use in order to really be able to do what he's purposed and designed you to do, that you fulfill his plan for your life, and that you don't be so focused, your expectation on what your plan is, that you run into him and you allow him to really be able to change you and bring you into him. That of all things, you seek him first. You truly seek him, not for what you can get out of him, but for relationship with him. So you guys have a fantastic rest of your week, and then we will see you this week on Sunday. Dream South will be Sunday, and so will Dream North. Both of us will be playing on Sunday, so we will catch you guys then. Thank you, and have a blessed day.